There it is, another sunrise. Just on my way down to the river for a morning walk. I did hear a robin in town yesterday. That's sweet. And just now I can hear some geese upriver. They're a ways off. I don't think this will pick it up. One of my favorite things when I was a kid, in the spring, looking for those pieces of ice. Places where the puddles laid the day before, and it gets a thin shell of ice over it at night, and then the water soaks away from underneath it. Then you get to go crunch it. Oh, it looks like a good one. That's fun. Apparently I still like it. Oh. That's fun. Yesterday's slush froze up, pretty crunchy. Well, it looks like river walking is finished for the year. Quite a bit of water over the ice now. Well, it is the 2nd of March this morning, so it's kind of early for spring, but about -5, and I do hear geese, one flying by now. Oh, and then there's shell ice, and a robin yesterday, so it's sure feeling like spring. Got something to say. But we can be sure there's a pretty good chance of catching a storm yet, which would be great. A nice dump of snow would be good. A little less snow every day. It has been a slow melt for sure, which is nice, means more soaking in. Well, it's still March 2nd. This morning I was thinking, well, on my walk, that it's feeling like spring. So I had a strong hankering to go for a drive out in the country. That's our farm way off in the distance there. Well, it's about 3 miles from here. This is where I walked from. It's not looking very spring-like out here. I can hear some horned larks, so that's a sign. But there's still some snow to melt. All right, so the first test fit. There's a few adjustments to make, I see. And then I have to make latches or anchors. This little hole here, I gotta make a hook to go down in there. Hooks into the anchor for the second row of seats, and then it will use those trolleys that the seats mount to, and the whole unit will slide forward and back, so it can come ahead up to where it butt up against the back end of the fridge there, so about 20 inches forward and back. So the thing is, then this base will slide out across the van right to the other side. Then this back folds flat like that and then flops forward onto the other one to make a full bed. And then once it's anchored to the trolleys and you can slide that forward, that will give access to this sump where the third row of seats sits in there now. So I'll just take those seats out to make a storage sump while we're traveling. And then down here comes the shelf. And then the search for a mattress. I guess kind of a futon style mattress, Japanese futon, seems to be the one from what we're reading. We did learn that the memory foam is a no-go for this. We had been using memory foam mattresses or some memory foam on them. What we learned is that stuff gets hard as a board when it gets cooled down. By the time you get it softened up, which requires heat, and there's only one place you can get the heat, and that's from your body. So you're transferring heat from your body into the mattress till about 2 in the morning, which isn't great. And then what you've accomplished by warming that foam up is that you sink into a hole then. So when you're getting up for that 2 o'clock pee, you got to climb out of a hole. So it just doesn't work. So once you climb into bed on that hard cold foam, of course you're looking for warmth, so you end up spooning, which is good. But once you do warm that mattress up and it settles down in the middle, then you're both laying in that sump. And then along comes a hot flash. While laying in a sump with your woman, when a hot flash comes along, that's a high risk situation. So finding the right mattress for Lori is a challenge. She is a woman, we'll say, of accentuated contours, and it takes the right mattress to accept those contours. And if it's not right, there's hip pain and back pain and all that goes along with that. So if you have any thoughts or suggestions for a mattress, put them down in the comments. Appreciate it. Well, it's just so dang nice out, and I've kind of gone as far as I can on that sofa bed thing. It's basically done. Just need a mattress now. So this evening's an extended walk. Well, down the road anyway. It's not too exciting, but walk is always good. So I went north from Empress, across the Red Deer River, took a right turn going east towards Saskatchewan. But there's a little creek just ahead, that's where I'm headed. Just go as far as the creek. But the road is so busy, I'm surprised. A lot of grain trucks on the road. This will probably be about 4.5 miles round trip. Oh, I hear a little water running. This creek can get pretty busy. And this water's coming in from the west. So as you go north, up through that coulee, it branches off several times, but it brings water 20 plus miles from the north down into the river here. When I was young, riding the school bus, I guess probably first grade, second grade, and at that time we had a lot more snow, a lot more winter. Runoff was quite an event, and this bridge was to the north about a quarter mile. I don't know if you can see that old road bed there. Ran just below that farmhouse there. Actually, the road ran right through the farm. But anyway, that bridge washed out one spring. Smaller bridge than what this one is. And I don't know, I guess school was more important than your kids, but I remember them putting a plank, of course a wide plank, probably 12 inches, across the span that was washed out, and us kids had to walk the plank over top of the rushing water below, get to the school bus on the other side. I mean, if we had dropped in, we'd have just been washed down into the river, there's no doubt about it. Different time, I guess. I don't think we'd do that now. Pretty quiet, but there is a lot of snow to the north. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but a fair bit by today's standards. And it, depending on the melt, at this point everything's melting pretty slow and soaking away. But if we get a Chinook wind, some higher temperatures, it can run, it has potential to run quite a bit of water yet. So there, we'll just keep an eye on this and see. There could be some water coming down here in a couple of weeks. So this road runs right through the middle of the floodplain of the Red Deer River. And the winters here are not what they used to be. Not near the snow we used to get. So when I was young, it was pretty standard for the when the ice would break on the river. It generally happened kind of all at once. You get enough pressure, enough water coming under the ice, it just explodes and becomes a solid flow of 3-foot thick ice kegs, and that typically would jam up. Downstream here there's a horseshoe, some sharp bends, and then it runs into the South Saskatchewan. And if this river would break before the South Saskatchewan, it would dam up, and this whole floodplain, like right up to those bushes to the base of that yard, this whole thing would be underwater. And that doesn't really happen anymore. I guess partly because we don't get as much winter, and partly because there's dams upstream that regulate the flow. But I missed that. It was always part of the excitement of spring. When I was 14, I had a Honda XL 250. That was my freedom. I could hardly believe the places I could go on that. Anyway, one spring, this S-bend here coming onto the bridge. Of course, it was a lesser road at that point, but it was a spring breakup, and this road was underwater. And of course, at 14, I was on my way to town, but there was quite a bit of water, so no one was driving through. But I could see little bubbles coming up off the edge of the pavement. And I thought, oh, I can do that. So I put my feet up on the motor and went through. I guess more freedom than brain at that point. Well, here we're coming onto the Red Deer River. Yeah, it's too windy to record up here. So I'd just like to say thanks for coming along with me as I try to learn this whole video thing. It's been a challenge. I am having fun when I'm not cussing my computer. So again, thanks for coming along. Enjoy your journey. Bye for now.